TikToks that feel illegal to watch. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
The secret name of God that can change your destiny. What if I told you that there is a name so powerful that by invoking it, you can change your destiny? A name that kings, prophets, and Kabbalists have used for centuries, but that has been forgotten by most people. Are you ready to find out? In Kabbalah, the masters teach that certain combinations of Hebrew letters carry divine frequencies. And among the 72 names of God, there is one in particular that can unlock doors, attract miracles, and even change your reality. But why does almost no one talk about it? This name is not in the common Bible. It was kept for centuries, revealed only to initiates. Great sages like Moses and Solomon used it to accomplish the impossible. And today, you will meet it. The name is Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, the phrase that God said to Moses in the burning bush. Translated, it means, I am that I am. But it's not just a phrase, it's a key. When you repeat this name with intention, it activates a cosmic force that dissolves blockages, attracts opportunities, and reprograms your subconscious. Why? Because it reminds you of the universe. You are an extension of the divine, and the divine knows no limits. Now I want to know, have you ever felt that something greater is guiding your life? Comment I am if you believe that there is a power beyond our understanding. And if this video made you think differently, like, share, and follow for more forbidden secrets. Oh, and if you've ever used this name or felt something different, tell us in the comments. I wonder if other people have had supernatural experiences with it.
Jesus is the name above all.
Do you know why wise people often say, live life like a wolf? Because wolves carry a code that many humans have forgotten. First, a wolf never eats a carcass. It doesn't settle for leftovers. You'll never find a wolf performing in a circus. They don't seek applause. Unlike many animals, wolves don't mate with their mothers or sisters. They're loyal, often committing to one mate for life.
Man.
And when one passes, the other mourns, sometimes for months, even a year. Wolves are called the righteous sons, because when their parents grow old and can no longer hunt, they don't abandon them. Instead, the younger ones go out, hunt, and bring food back to the den. There's a lot we, as humans, can learn from wolves. Discipline, loyalty, honor, respect. If you're not following, you'll probably never hear my voice again. But if you are, welcome back. You're growing every single day.
This is amazing, and we could learn so much from Wolf.
This is a total game changer. A man in Chicago has figured out a way to turn plastic waste into usable fuel.
The world's first ever handmade continuous microwave pyrolysis reactor to convert plastic waste. Mixed, sorted, clean, dirty, whatever. Take that plastic waste out the ocean, out the landfills, out the waste stream, and turn it into fuel. $0 a gallon.
Julian Brown, known online as Nature Lab, isn't your average inventor. At just 21, he pioneered a method to convert plastic waste into usable fuel right from his backyard. He uses a technique called microwave pyrolysis. Julian heats plastic waste in the absence of oxygen, breaking it down into fuel components like diesel and gasoline.
Wow.
The process also yields carbon black as the only byproduct, and it's a valuable byproduct. But innovation isn't without its risks. Julian faced a severe explosion that left him hospitalized with second-degree burns. Later, he discovered that his car's lug nuts had been tampered with.
A few days ago, 2 days ago, all 10 of my lug nuts on my front wheels were loosened completely. And one of my wheels almost flew off going 70 miles per hour on the interstate.
This nearly caused a fatal accident right after his first accident. And he doesn't think this is a coincidence. He thinks this is a little fishy.
This is where the explosion happened. And take a look at how high that fire got. I was point blank.
Undeterred, Julian is now working on a solar-powered version of his reactor.
I'm back Just like I never left.
He's hoping that this thing's going to change the game. All plastic waste can just be placed into one of these machines and out comes usable fuel. Plastic waste will actually become valuable because plastic is made out of these petroleum products in the first place. With over 3.4 billion plastic items discarded daily, Julian's invention could be a game changer in our fight against pollution. His vision is a world where plastic waste fuels our lives, not our landfills. In Julian's own words, he states, "I'm not just building machines, I'm building a future where waste becomes wealth. Join me on this journey." So go over there and follow him, because I think it's just absolutely amazing. And his journey, his videos are amazing, showing off these incredible machines that he's building. And I think this is the kind of thing we should be supporting
You
wholeheartedly.
will forget what happens when you innovate, like, you know, the water powered car inventor. But please, God, protect Julian.
A man was caught speeding through traffic on a souped-up electric wheelchair. He was, however, breaking the laws in Brazil as battery-powered wheelchairs are limited to a top speed of 8 miles per hour. Police are now studying this clip to identify the driver.
You know that movie, Johnny English?
3 types of people to watch out for. People who have a lot of drama, people who have a lot of conflict, and people who complain a lot. Let's break them down. People who have a lot of drama. There's something going on. Something is always wrong. They're in something. Now you may think, well, it's not my drama, it's their drama. Nope. Drama spills over. Drama impacts you. And if they're a hot volcano all the time, you're gonna be that too. Also, their stuff leaks into your world. It's gonna impact you. People who are in conflict. These are individuals who have a problem with everybody all the time. These individuals strive on conflict. Here's what happens and what people don't realize. They may tell you, I don't want conflict. I don't like fighting with people. But yet, they always are. So the same people that tell you, I don't like conflict, but yet find themselves in it all the time, is because they've created that pattern of behavior. Which leads me to are complainers and blamers. So in the U.S. Secret Service, nobody had time to hear you complain. Nobody wanted to know. Nobody cared. Because we had things to do. Blamers and complainers don't take accountability. And when they don't take accountability, nothing is their fault. If you have a goal in life and you're trying to get here, the blaming and complaining keeps you from getting here. You know why? Because it's this guy's fault. It's that guy's fault. She said this to me. He did that to me. And now I am a recipient of what the world does to me. I have no control over myself. Everybody else does. I am at the mercy of
48 laws of power. Stay away from the unlucky and unfortunate. Man.
Big boy. Oh, you're kicking me. Come here.
What are you doing?
I want to rub your belly. Rub your belly.
These days, lions aren't serious at all. Oh, big boy, come on, big boy.
Atualmente tem sessão legal. Tem sessão legal. Você tem que tomar isso.
Look at me. Just look at me and laugh. Who would ever do this in a store or CVS that I'm doing? Think about that. How silly is it? It's just gonna happen. It's gonna work. There you go.
You got it. You got
There
it.
you go.
You got it.
You're the...
What's that?
What's that?
I know. No, don't let him.
God. Are you crazy?
No, come on.
That is fucking cute.
Hey, what's up?
I have a cousin who is not afraid to fight anybody, but so afraid of a needle.
This feminist disguised herself as a man for 18 months to prove that men had life easier, and she discovered something totally shocking. Meet Nora Vincent, a lesbian feminist journalist who spent 18 months undercover as Ned. Fully disguised as a man, she wanted to prove that men had life easier, but instead she proved the opposite. As Ned, she flattened her chest using sports bras, trained her voice to sound deeper, and adopted male clothing and mannerisms. Nora joined a men's bowling team, dated women, worked door-to-door sales, and even attended men's therapy groups. She quickly realized that men faced intense pressure, emotional isolation, and harsh expectations around masculinity. Instead of privileges, she found loneliness, psychological stress so overwhelming that she ended up in a depressive breakdown and admitted herself into a psychiatric facility. Her journey offered a good perspective into gender dynamics, challenging preconceived notions about the privileges associated with being a man, showing that not one side has it easier, it's that the problems are just
Both
different.
genders have it hard. We just have different problems.
The staff have asked us that we just speak to you.
Why are you kicking me? Why you are kicking me? You calm down. You I'm not kicking you. I'm not kicking you. You did. You can't even. What are you doing?
By the way, I did the search on this. He's a doctor and asked for alternative treatments to be taken, and her doctors refused and called the police saying he was being violent. By the way, he's suing them.
High school prom getting out of control. Have y'all seen the high school proms? You cannot go to high school prom now without a budget. Last year, this kid's mom asked me to film his high school prom, right? He pulled up in a Rolls Royce, had a red carpet, and had a driver. Now looking back on it, that was light. That was his junior year. His mom said his senior year, they're trying to get an approval so the helicopter could land at the school. I seen somebody
Oh my
on a moving
goodness.
bus in a box.
What is this?
I seen a girl dressed with all the $100 bills made out of it. Some girl said her dad flew to Nigeria to get the dress made because hers ain't come in time. Bro, what the this is what I wore to my prom. I thought it was clean. Nice little matching set with your date. No. If you go to prom dressed like this now, you getting laughed out the building. You getting laughed out the building, bro. I'm talking about people pulling up in horses and carriages. When did y'all get so much freedom to do
If
all
only
this?
they put this much effort into their education.
At least 12 people we're hearing have been injured in that stabbing attack at the main train station in Hamburg. Police have said that a person with a knife injured several people at the station, some of whom are now in a critical, life-threatening condition. One person has been arrested, we're hearing as well.
Wow, I'm shocked that Europe hasn't woken up yet.
The only city in the world without skyscrapers. It's also the best city in the world to live in. It's Edinburgh, Scotland. There are no modern skyscrapers here. The locals go to work at 10 in the morning and go home to their families at 4 in the afternoon. Edinburgh is the capital of Scotland and is full of unique Scottish charm. There's also a lot of gorgeous architecture. They're trying to preserve the heritage and history of the city. That's why Edinburgh is the only place in the world that doesn't have high-rise buildings. They don't destroy any of the old buildings for the development of the city. Instead, they've restored them to their original condition, including ancient churches and Victorian masterpieces from the castle's steep cliffs in the city centre. It's also one of the best cities to live in.
Wow.
It's not as fast-paced or stressful as the big cities.
It's beautiful.
And the environment is very pleasant.
Well, now I want to visit Edinburgh.
And what protocols are in place when there's unsubstantiated information being put out for the world and world leaders to
Yamiche,
show?
what's unsubstantiated about the video? The video shows crosses that represent the dead bodies of people who were racially persecuted by their government. In fact, the Associated Press, of all places, has a picture of that very monument, and the caption from the Associated Press is, "Each cross marks a white farmer who has been killed in a farm murder." So it is substantiated, not just by that video and the physical evidence that everybody saw on display in the Oval Office, but also by another outlet in this room, the Associated Press. So you should take it up with them if you believe the claim is unsubstantiated.
President Trump made no mistakes when he hired Caroline Leavitt. Isn't Elon from South Africa? I'm sure it's personal. Very.
Psychopath is born and a sociopath is made. Okay, that's the key. So a psychopath, in fact, we know in the research on psychopathy, which has also been called antisocial personality disorder in our diagnostic manual, these are people who are actually believed to have slightly different autonomic nervous systems. Our autonomic nervous system is actually that part that holds our sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight and flight system. So when our autonomic nervous system for a normal person gets charged up, which it would if we broke a rule, if we did something embarrassing or rude, if we ran through a red light, our heart starts racing. We sweat, our pupils get wide, we look around because we're afraid of the consequence. A psychopath doesn't have that same kind of arousal. That's why they're able to lie on lie detector tests. That's how they get away with it. They don't have that same kind of arousal. So where you or I may go on a roller coaster, feel that sense of excitement, we need to get that arousal in a good way. We don't like feeling it when we do something wrong. They don't feel it.
So do they get stressed?
No, not in the same way.
So if they're driving, because if I'm driving and I see police sirens coming behind me, I mean, it is a full-on, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to get pulled over. But a psychopath would see that and go, oh, I'm going to get pulled over.
Well, this could be. They could have a dead body in the trunk, and they wouldn't change.
And so they pull over, they get the ticket, and they don't care.
No, they don't care.
And they pay the ticket?
And maybe not, they'll even probably get an attorney to get them off or say, yeah, you know, my understanding of your state laws is you can't really be doing this, and they'll be cool as can be.
And this is a difference in their
They're actually how their nervous systems are wired and their brains are. There's actually been interesting research done with PET scans where you can see brain function. And what
not just to clarification, not PET like dogs and cats, PET scans.
Positron emission tomography scans of the brain, which show brain functioning, if you will. And what they see is that the section of the brain that serves empathy, that doesn't naturally light up in them. And you can actually teach them to be empathic for a minute, but it doesn't last. A lot of psychopaths who commit violent crimes end up in jail, and the ones who commit more like white-collar crimes, I guess they end up as multi-billionaires because they're willing to do really, really rough stuff in their business and get through like a cartel leader or something like that. Call for the killings of other people.
So Dexter Morgan is sociopath, while his brother is psychopath.
Now,
put God first.
Amen.
Put God first in everything you do. Everything that you think you see in me, everything that I've accomplished, everything that you think I have, and I have a few things, everything that I have is by the grace of God. Understand that. It's a gift.
Amen. Always God first.
You're not paying attention. You're not really listening to people. You have these kind of simplified images of who they are. You kind of project onto them your own problems. You judge people as good or bad, friendly or unfriendly, and you have no insight or understanding of people. And the reason is that you're not really truly interested in other people. You're mostly interested in yourself and in your own ideas. And I want to change your perspective. I want to tell you, people are fascinating. People are weird. They're a lot weirder than you think they are. Even that guy who's just handing you your coffee in the morning every day, he's got issues. He's got traumas from his childhood. He's dealing with all sorts of stuff you can't even see. If you could look into people's dreams, you would realize they're a lot weirder than you think.
Most people listen to answer, not to understand.
How dark and twisted the world is and how it works and how everything's an enslavement system, it's a trap, is 100% a curse. It feels like you have a lot more knowledge than the majority of the population, but you're actually having to battle so many more things. You have to battle making money when you know that money is just a hoax. You have to battle not getting your traditional job because you know that it is not your life's purpose. You have to battle the whole fucking debt, credit system, bullshit financial system, because you know that it's literally all rigged. While you are asking yourself 1,000 questions that nobody else is asking themselves, you are suffering. And it sucks to say, but apparently there are some of us who need to suffer more with the conscious ratio of things. I don't fucking know. Because I know people who just follow the traditional model and their life seems fine, right? They're making money, they pay their little bills, they get a new car every 4 years, they pay their little Matrix food groceries, they don't give a shit. If you've never seen me before, my name's Laura. I write ebooks on consciousness and conspiracies and the Matrix and everything. Make sure you check them out. But you and me, we're out here like a bunch of nuts, just being like, oh my God, there's a deeper purpose to life I can't stand. Yeah, you live in a world that is meant to make you sick in your head. You have the awareness to understand it. You know that the voice in your mind is not you, but it is going to bully you. It is going to scream at you. It is going to make you believe that you're fucking going crazy. This is hard. It is fucking hard. And when I say we're in a spiritual war, right now, it feels like this energy is not my own. It feels like it is an energy of darkness that is trying really hard to weigh me down to the point where I don't move. To the point where I do not move with love and light. I realize that I have a deep passion for these types of things because I think I have a way of explaining it, but it doesn't make it any easier for me to be in this reality than you. It doesn't make, there are like right now, I would love to just sit down and do nothing and just wilt away having all of this knowledge. Oh my God, but like I know how the world actually works. But it's not actually changing anything in your reality. I just wanted to make this to tell you that I am sending you so much love and compassion because I know how fucking heavy it is to exist in these times right now. And you might think I fucking say the same shit over and over again, but like this is an ongoing process. It's not an overnight thing. It's not like everyone's gonna start asking themselves, oh my God, are we really in an illusion? No, like this is progressive change. So like, yeah, there might not be that many changes that are happening in the external 3D reality, but we're all going through it internally. Anyways,
this planet is ruled by demons. We are in a spiritual, psychological warfare.
I have a client who's worth $8 billion. You would walk past him on the street, you would never know he has very much money at all. He drives a Jeep Grand Cherokee, which is like a very mid-range car. He wears like, you know, totally nondescript clothing. Like he just looks like a typical middle-aged dude. And you would not look at him and go, like, he gets his hair cut at like Supercuts for 25 bucks. Like he's not posh in the things that he owns and does. His income annually is like the gross domestic product of a few countries.
Oh,
and,
man.
You know, he's not, but and yet I have clients who appear to be incredibly wealthy. And as a divorce lawyer, I get to see the absolutely unfiltered version of people's finances. And I can tell you, they are deeply in debt.
You know, the goal is to be rich, not look rich.
Have you ever wondered what the most mysterious angels in the Bible really look like? The cherubim and seraphim are not what most people imagine. Their true forms are far more terrifying and awe-inspiring. Cherubim are first mentioned in Genesis 3:24, guarding the entrance to the Garden of Eden with a flaming sword. They are not cute or gentle. They are mighty, fearsome beings designed to protect the holy. In Ezekiel 10, cherubim are described with 4 faces, a lion, an ox, a human, and an eagle. And they are covered with eyes, moving with wheels of fire beside them. They are living symbols of God's majesty, power, and omnipresence. Then there are the seraphim. In Isaiah 6, seraphim are seen above God's throne, each with 6 wings, 2 covering their faces, 2 covering their feet, and 2 for flying. They cry out day and night, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty." Seraphim are beings of pure fire and worship, burning with the glory of God, proclaiming His holiness without ceasing. These angelic races are not just guardians or messengers. They are living reflections of God's overwhelming glory. Their appearance is meant to inspire awe, fear, and worship. If you believe that God's angels are more powerful and mysterious than we could ever imagine, type Amen and share this video, because the true army of heaven is beyond anything we have ever seen.
Amen, and give thanks to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
I told you they genuinely aren't. None
Ew.
of you are seeing the world, and this is scientifically proven. If you don't want to freak the hell out after watching this, just keep scrolling. On the electromagnetic spectrum, our eyes can only see visible light, which is this tiny bit here, 0.0035% of the whole spectrum. So we are blind to over 99% of what is actually going on in the world, and this is a fact. Now you also may or may not know there is a hole in the back of your eyeball where the optic nerve exits the eye. Now this is where it's crazy because yeah, if there was a hole in the back of your eye, you'd see holes everywhere, right? Well, your mind fills in the blanks with memory, so it's basically just creating it from your mind. So everything you see isn't necessarily as real as you think it is, because there's a part of reality, the light spectrum, that we can all see, but a lot of what you see is being interpreted and made up by your mind to simply fill in the blanks. It of course links into the solipsism theory that I've spoken about before, where you are the only person alive, no one around you, me, no one is real, but your mind is filling in the blanks, creating these people so you don't feel so lonely and have an existential crisis. It's similar with hearing as well though, like we do not have good hearing compared to other animals and creatures. There's only a tiny fraction we can hear and the rest of it we are completely deaf to. So the life we're experiencing is just a heavily filtered, potentially fake version of what is actually going on.
It's not fake, it's a human experience.
When Lilith fled from Eden, God sent 3 powerful angels, Sinoi, Sansanoi, and Simongoloth, to bring her back. These angels descended to the Red Sea, where Lilith had taken refuge, surrounded by fierce demons who protected her. The arrival of the angels caused an uproar. Their divine presence enraged the demons, igniting a brutal battle. Sinoi, with his blade of light, sliced through the dark creatures with divine precision. Sansanoi conjured storms of celestial fire, disintegrating legions of demons. Simongoloth, with his power of invocation, created energy shields to protect his brothers and amplify their strength. Lilith, however, was not intimidated. She summoned a wave of darkness that attempted to consume the angels, but their sacred weapons kept the light burning on the battlefield. When confronting Lilith directly, the angels offered her a chance at redemption, but she refused, vowing never to submit.
Anyone who believes this is only fooling themselves. Lilith was created by Kabbalists, which is Jewish mysticism. She never existed.
Don't go anywhere because we still have fire clips after fire clips back to back.
So, I was curious the other day and found this online. McDonald's sells 6.5 million burgers in one single day. That's 195 million burgers a month. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't see cows lined up around every corner waiting to be turned into patties. I mean, seriously, do the math. Even if you stretched one cow into a bunch of burgers, you're still talking millions of cows just to keep up. Every day. So I started asking myself, where are all these cows coming from? Is there some secret super ranch hidden underground? Are they growing cows in labs, cloning meat behind closed doors? People laugh it off, but think, when was the last time you even saw a cow farm big enough to supply this madness? And don't say imported beef, because even globally, the numbers don't add up smooth. And look, I'm not saying it ain't real meat. I'm just asking the question no one wants to. What the hell are we eating? Because if it ain't cows, then what is it? Remember, I'm not insinuating anything. I am simply asking a question.
There are rumors McDonald's has contracts worldwide with hospitals.
This is just a theory, not a fact.
Mars was the original planet that humans were from. Okay. And then something happened that we all had to fly to another planet and live on. So there used to be like civilization that lived on Mars.
But now it's all dried up, right?
That's all dried up. Now back this. Continuing, I wanted to warn you guys. Their phones were being spied on. Click on this icon, then on more. If you see it, delete it immediately. On Mars, there's an element on the periodic table called xenon. Now, xenon on Earth is only found after a nuclear explosion.
No.
Theory, and it goes hand in hand now. What if on Mars there was a nuclear warfare, destroyed the whole planet, but people were able to escape just in time, landed on Earth, and they had to restart from nothing.
So we are the aliens.
We're the aliens.
What the hell?
So what I got here
is a pictorial album in the history of the 1893 World's Fair. This was printed in 1894 in Chicago. Let's let them tell us in their words how this went down, and look at the pictures of what they built in a very short amount of time. So I'm gonna bring you around. Now let's try to follow this timeline that's laid out in this book. So it starts as far back as 1882. Chicago was suggested as a proper place for the World's Fair. 3 years later, Chicago Commercial Union League and Iroquois Club appointed a joint committee to take action and report. So 1886. Then it was Chicago businessmen that came forward and began to take action in July 1889. So by July 1889, nothing had still been done. So now we have December 11th, 1889. Senator Cullum of Illinois introduced the first World's Fair bill into the United States Senate. All right? Now, Washington, D.C. and Chicago were going back and forth as who was going to have the World's Fair. Well, February 24th, 1890, all opposition was overcome and Congress voted to have the exposition in Chicago. But we come all the way down here, and it wasn't until June 26, 1890, the funds were released and they had their first meeting of the National Commission. So less than 3 years later, all of what I'm about to show you was built and up and running and ready for a World's Fair. There's a bird's eye view of the World's Fair. Just part of it. This is the electricity and mining buildings. Do you see how big those are? Look how small the people are on those things. Let me see if I can zoom in for you. I mean, they built that in 2+ years. Just look at how big some of these buildings were. The Mines and Mine Building. The dimensions are 700 by 350 feet. The height of the main cornice is 65 feet. The entrance on each side of the building, the grand entrances being at the north and south, these are 110 feet high and 32 feet wide. All right? The Transportation Building, its dimensions, 256 feet by 960 feet. The floor area was 9.4 acres. Here's the Transportation Building I was just talking about. And here's one of the Machinery Hall. Just absolutely massive. And in this entire book, even though they built all this in 2 years, there's not one single picture in here of anyone building anything or anything being constructed halfway through. All they're showing you is the final product. Just look at that detail. All those fountains, that boat, those statues. Look at the Statue of Liberty they have right there. Look how little those people are next to it in that boat. You cannot convince me this wasn't a Tartarian world that they wiped.
They apparently have technology that the government has hidden from us.
Who really rules the world? And I discovered it's a very, very interesting history of ancient Iranian tribes, the original Zoroastrians, and the first world Persian Empire that has controlled the world for the last 5,000 years. The entities that created the Jesuits during the Renaissance in Italy, it was none other than Alessandro Farnese, a Persian. They have 10 bloodline families that sit on a council, and they're the ones who advise the Jesuits. The Jesuits work for the Iranian bloodlines, and the Jesuits were created by Alessandro Farnese, who became Pope Paul III. We're talking about a global network with one template carrying all of this out. And it's originates with those ancient Iranian bloodlines. The Romans, the Etruscans, the Holy Roman Empire, they're all Iranians, they're all Persians, it's all Persian.
Satan, then the entities, then the draconian reptilian, then the hybrids.
Hypnotize anyone with this short phrase, and that is, what would you do if? You see, the word would is past tense, which means that this causes people to go inwards, which puts them in hypnosis. And the word if gets them to think about possibilities. So you ask somebody, what would you do if you made more money than you've ever made before? What would you do if you had unlimited confidence that you could achieve your goals? So ask people, what would you do if, and then insert what you want them to think about.
Did you know buffaloes, when they sense a storm coming, they run towards the storm? The reason they run towards the storm is because they know as they're running and the storm's coming, they spend less time in the storm. Most people feel a storm, they run away. You spend more time in the bad weather. Most people don't realize that the pain they're going through today is to get them ready for the thing they've been asking for. If you actually knew that today's challenge was setting you up to be able to receive the thing you've been asking for, you would be excited about the challenge of today.
I'm a buffalo, man.
God is great.
Is it that simple?
God is great. Don't get no simpler than that, bro. You can know it all you want, but until you got to pick up that cross that you can't carry, and he picks it up for you and carries you and the cross.
Amen. God is great.
I was crying, praying. I'm like, I don't know what it is. I got everything I want. Why do I feel this way? What is going on? What is it? Like, what can I do? And I'm praying. I'm like, Heavenly Father, when I wake up, please show me something that can relieve what I got going on, because this weed ain't working, this money ain't working, this temporary feelings for sex ain't working. None is taking away how I feel internally. I said, what is gonna help me? Right after I prayed, God came to me, and I knew it was God. Got the chills, and I knew it wasn't my conscience. He said to me, he said, you remember that prayer you told me before you blew up? You remember that prayer you said that you want to get into this industry, this negative ass industry, to be able to make a positive outlook. You want to get in this entity of negative. You want to get into this entity of the devil, and you want to do all these things. And remember you told me that you wanted to make a light out of it, and I wasn't shining that light. And you want to know what God did? He made sure that with me being ungrateful, he made sure he stripped me as a man to where I ain't have nothing to lean on but him. It was either him or the devil, and I don't fuck with that guy.
All these rappers turning to God is so good.
My favorite fraud that I ever defended was a group of Nigerians. You know how to make a Nigerian omelet, right?
Oh.
Well, first you get a credit card. Sorry. It's a joke, but it's a good joke. So these Nigerians were going to hospitals and identifying information from hospitals, and then applying en masse for tax returns with the IRS, and just making up numbers. And they got, there was like $400 million in fraudulent tax returns that they got back by just making up numbers. And the beauty of it is they received $400 million, and they went to a strip joint. Of course, that's where you go after you steal $400 million from the government. It's, you know, it's I think it's the law. I think you have to go to a strip joint after you make that kind of money. And brought one, you know, Sheba, Angel, Detsy, Bambi, whatever the lovely young entertainer was, back to the motel, and got in a fight with the stripper about how much she was going to earn for her private dancing, and the laws got called because the Nigerian and Sheba got in a fight, and they came in and they saw all the computers, and here we go. So they lost it all, ended up doing 15, 20 years because they got in a fight.
That's crazy.
Play the clip I just sent you.
Did you see him shifting in his chair?
Well, you have to see this because the guy, the first clip that he played is this guy, Julius Malema. Okay, watch what he's saying here, and look how many people are in the crowd.
Sweetheart of a guy.
Watch. 10% of the voters support him, give or take.
To kill Hamaza, kill the poor, the farmer, kill the poor,
kill the poor,
the farmer,
kill them is what he's saying.
Did you hear that? Watch what he said. Kill the farmer, kill the poor. Brr, pa, brr, wow. Shoot to kill. So now.
So we coming to you live, Diddy Late Nights. We're into the hop and I'm just vibing. So why? coming or not, bitch? Man, I'm down. Drake, what up, baby? Yeah, we coming, baby. Hitting them like it don't bleed, throwing that rolling on you. I like the way you be freezing.
He stole the wig from Prince.
Kid Cudi walks towards the federal courthouse, smoking a cigarette, wearing a leather jacket, a white t-shirt, and some blue jeans, looking like he don't give a. First thing I'll say is Cudi maintains his confidence throughout his testimony, even making the jury chuckle at one point. He tells us that he first meets Cassie in 2008, but it wasn't until 2010 that Diddy approached him about collaborating with her. So in 2011, the two get in the studio together, and things don't end well. Cudi says the two got close, and he fell in love with her, and to his knowledge, she and Diddy were over. He says the two talk every day, and then towards the end of the year, she confides in him and tells him that Diddy abuses her, that he hits and kicks her, and it infuriates him because he loves her. And then one day, shortly before Christmas, Cudi gets a call from Cassie around 6 a.m. in the morning, and she sounds stressed. She's panicking. She tells him that Diddy found out that the two were dating. Then she says something that stresses him out even more, that she gave Diddy his address and that she doesn't know what Diddy's gonna do. So the two check into a nearby hotel. Cudi says Cassie's a wreck. And then Cudi gets a call from Capricorn Clark, who is Diddy's former assistant, and she tells him, Diddy is inside your house. At this point, Cudi says Diddy has crossed the line, so he calls him, angry, and in a calm voice, he says Diddy tells him he's here so that they can talk. So now Cudi says he's rushing home so that he can fight Diddy. But then on his way, he realizes that he doesn't know what he's walking into. He doesn't know if he has guns. So he calls the cops. Now Cudi says he left his front door unlocked, but when he gets home, he realizes the security cameras have moved. And when he goes inside, he sees that Christmas presents have been opened and that his dog that roams freely around in the house was locked in the bathroom. Days later, Cudi flies to Connecticut to be with Cassie and her family for Christmas. And it was during this time that Regina Ventura, Cassie's mother, says she received an email from her daughter that made her physically ill. Cassie opened up about the abuse and told her mom that Diddy was threatening to release a sex tape starring her on Christmas Day and another shortly after, and that he also threatened to send someone to hurt both her and Kid Cudi. During this trip, Kid Cudi says that Diddy was calling him multiple times, but he didn't want to talk to him, accusing him of breaking into his home and hurting his dog. Now it's 2012, and the relationship that Kid Cudi had with Cassie is fizzling. But things are about to get worse. Cudi is out of town and gets a call from his dog sitter telling him his car is on fire. His reaction? What the? Someone had ripped a hole in the top of his black Porsche convertible and dropped a Molotov cocktail inside. The inside was badly damaged and charred. Cudi says he realizes things are getting out of hand, so he calls Diddy and says he's ready to talk. So the two arrange to meet at the Soho House. Cudi says he walks into a private room and standing there is Diddy, looking out of the window overlooking Beverly Hills. He says he looked like a Marvel supervillain. And I'm not gonna lie, the courtroom chuckled, even the jury. He says the two started talking about how he started dating Cassie, what it was, and how it ended, with Diddy responding, "You knew she was my girl." Cudi described Diddy's demeanor as calm, courteous, a little too courteous, saying he offered me water at least 2 times. Cudi says Cassie eventually shows up, and it upsets him because he realizes the two are back together. The conversation is done, the two men stand up, he says, they shake hands, and he says while he is shaking Diddy's hand, he looks him right in the eyes and says, "So what are we gonna do about my car?" And he says Diddy looks him right back in the eyes and says, "I don't know what you're talking about." Years later, Cudi says that he runs into Diddy and Diddy apologizes for everything. And he says that brought him peace because he never thought he would.
Diddy is the perfect example of psychopath.
What would it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these 3 gentlemen would not be here.
I could show you a couple of things. And excuse me, turn the lights down.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Enough of this guy who killed a revolution. At some point,
strong, man.
These are burial sites right here. Burial sites. Over 1,000 of white farmers. Each one of those white things you see is a cross. And there's approximately 1,000 of them. It's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything like it. Those people were all killed.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President?
It's in South Africa.
Come on, man. You already knew. He straight brought receipt. Most people don't know that this is happening. God bless President Trump.
Shots have been fired, y'all. And I'm not talking about your little typical shots. I'm not talking about no little beef. The shit Elon Musk said out his mouth about Bill Gates, if you got a brain, you can understand what he's trying to get at. I'm obviously not going to say it on here. So y'all should just say it down below in the comments. And they said Bill Gates didn't want no smoke with Elon Musk. It was on the news. And when Elon said what he said, the crowd started cheering, y'all. Some people even gasped like, y'all, look at this video.
I do want to ask you about USAID and the comments that Bill Gates made the other day, which I know that you called him.
Yeah, he's a huge lad.
I know, you've said that already. I wondered, and I'm just...
Who does Bill Gates think he is to make comments about the welfare of children, given that he frequented Jeffrey Epstein?
Ooh.
Then after that, the lady said, well, he said he regret those days. Y'all know why he regret those days.
Bill Gates is one of the most evil people on earth.
Wanting nothing gives you
What?
everything. I was too focused on, I need to have this, I need to have family, I need to have work, I need to have this, I need to be bigger and bigger. And I was too focused on them. So what I realized was, if I just let go of, I don't want anything anymore. Like, you handle it. Here, give
There
it
you
to
go,
God, you
God.
handle it. You know? When I did that, everything I've ever wanted came, and it came so fast. Like these past 1.5 months, my life has changed 360. I've probably never been happier than I am right now. Yeah, which is crazy.
You mean 180?
But it was the minute I just let it go. I was like, I don't care anymore. When you let something go, you take your power back. You take your energy from that thing back. The minute you take back your energy from all these things and you are now whole by yourself, those things become attracted to you. And they want to be with you instead of you wanting to be with them. Because nothing likes desperation. Desperation is a repulsive energy. When you are desperate, you have a lack mindset. You don't believe that this earth is abundant. And this earth is very abundant. God gave us everything.
Let go. Let God.
If you want to make sure you never ever die from a heart attack, there's one particle test that you need. But most traditional doctors still ignore it. Missing this test could literally be the difference between life and death. And as a Cornell-educated longevity physician, I'll tell you everything you need to know. Half of all heart attack victims show up with a normal LDL. Well, a sticky inherited particle is busy drilling plaque into their arteries, while routine panels completely look the other way. 1 in 5 people carries it, and a treadmill test will not pick it up. You could be crushing your workouts today and still be days from disaster. Here's what standard care misses. This particle clings to arterial walls, oxidizes lightning fast, and sparks the soft plaque that's most likely to rupture and cause deadly heart attacks. The sooner you spot it, the faster you can slam the brakes on it, cool arterial inflammation, and turn plaque from dynamite into drywall. A single blood draw that exposes all this is a simple apolipoprotein panel. One of the most important numbers there, your apolipoprotein B, otherwise known as ApoB. Whether it's in the green, yellow, or red, can hand you decades of clear warning and a clear plan to live heart attack.
Thank you, sir.
I'm gonna show you a video of something that literally would be probably our worst nightmare, bro. It's real life. Okay, let me see. It comes from this YouTuber from Belgium. His name is Zeus, and he's known for urban exploring. He does it alone most of the time, but this time he did it with a couple of friends. So this is them getting to the spot, and as you can see, they're already noticing weird stuff. They hear dogs.
Okay. Dit is wel spannend, ja. Wacht, ik heb op. Echt. Oh, man.
Oh, mamma mia.
Alles bro, spannend doen. Ingang.
Boom.
De poort.
Oh, like the warning sign?
Privaat, dit is een plaats van gebed. Gelief ons
So
rust.
this right here, the other times that he went to that spot, this wasn't there. And it says private property, do not enter. So they start walking back, but then they hear somebody.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Watch what he says.
Hier wordt letterlijk iemand gemarteld. Hier wordt letterlijk iemand gemarteld in de bos.
Yo, is this some sacrificial like clan In the sign, we missed it too, but it said religious practices are being practiced ahead. That's why it was private property.
No way, bro. Hello?
You say hello?
Hello?
Yo.
Hello?
Oh! Yo, that's chills, bro. So he ends up basically calling the cops. He still hides and shit. At this point, he's separated from his friend group.
The worst case scenario.
It gets to a point when the cops get there, and then that's when they see that it's this lady, and she had a fucking hatchet in her hand. See, the cops are there. She ripped the plate off.
Nah, I would have been out as soon as I heard the dogs.
The #1 best collagen food that no one's talking about. If you wanted to take your collagen to the next level and improve your skin, your joints, your cartilage. Another thing about collagen is that you do not get any collagen from plants. If you are a vegan, you're not going to get any collagen. To get your collagen, it must come from an animal source. Bone broth, pork rinds, egg whites, and all of those are great, and you need to consume them. When you see plant-based collagen products, they're mainly collagen supporting products like vitamin C, maybe some minerals, things like that. And it is true that you need vitamin C for collagen to work. This is why when someone has scurvy, a severe vitamin C deficiency, they start getting bleeding gums because the collagen in their gums falls apart. The other thing to know about collagen is that you don't get a lot of collagen from meat, maybe 1 to 3%. And out of all your protein in your body, collagen makes up 30% of all that protein. So in other words, if you're trying to get your collagen from a steak, especially a tender steak without much collagen, you need to go outside your meat to get your collagen. Another really important of collagen is to support your arteries, because your arteries should be elastic. When the arteries lose collagen and become stiff, you can get high blood pressure and hardening of the arteries. But collagen provides the scaffolding of your skin to prevent sagging skin or wrinkles, things like that. As we get older, even after the age of 25, your collagen starts going down, 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 down. A person that is younger, let's say they're 17 or 18 years old, has the absolute best collagen. They have joints that have cushions in them. Their spine is super healthy. When you consume a lot of junk food, refined sugar, starches, seed oils, your collagen really tanks even faster than aging. And collagen is also important in your eyes, and have the lens be elastic to be able to change its shape. Now, real quick, there's different types of collagen for different purposes. You have type 1 collagen, type 2, type 3, type 5, and type 10 collagen. Type 1 and type 3 come from fish skin, chicken skin, and bone broth. It provides the skin with elasticity to prevent the sagging of the skin. And that type of collagen will help your skin, your bones, and your hair. Type 2 collagen mainly comes from cartilage. For example, if you're eating a chicken leg, you can boil that and get the cartilage from that. Type 2 can really support.
What about okra and flaxseed? Does that contain collagen?
I'm going to show you the difference between somebody who lives without the law of assumption and somebody who does. So for me, example, 15 years ago when I used to get up, I'd go to work. This is what I would do. I would drive my car, go to work. Somebody would cut me off. I'd be like, you an asshole, you cut me off. Did you not see? I almost hit you. And I'd get to work all frustrated. Then I would go to work. My coworker would come and see me, and we would get into a little rift. What a bitch. And I would go talk to my other coworkers, she's doing this, she's such this, and she's that, blah, blah, blah. And then I would go home, and then if my husband or my boyfriend was cold with me and silent, well, I would do the same thing. I would be cold and silent with them too. And I'd get really pissed off and probably go to bed angry. That was the old me, the old version of me. Now the new version of me, which has the law of assumption lifestyle, does this. I go to work, I drive to work, somebody cuts me off. I'll sit back and go, I manifested that. Either yesterday or the day before, I must have get frustrated somewhere, and here it is again. Okay, no problem. God bless you. Go ahead. I go to work. My coworker is coming to me, and we get into that little rift. She leaves. First of all, I don't say too much because I'm realizing she's only reflecting me. So this comes from within me. So I don't say anything, and I reflect on how do I feel about myself in front of this person, or what is my story in front of this person? Because she's only coming into my reality the way that I either view myself or the way that I view her. Then I go home and I see that my husband is silent. I don't do the silence anymore. Now I will again be nice to him, not react to the 3D that is happening in front of me, and go inside myself and reflect. Why is it that my husband is being silent with me? What concept within myself is happening? Misunderstood, unheard, unvalued, whatever it is. And then I go within myself and I work on that. And I don't even talk to him about it because he will only reflect me. Once I fix it, he comes into my reality the way that I want him to.
They know that is what it's called. Just been teaching myself this.
So it was a group of Africans called the Moors. They ruled in Europe for over 700 years. Warriors and scholars from North Africa who crossed into Spain in 711 AD. They built advanced cities, introduced algebra, medicine, and even streetlights, while the rest of Europe was stuck in the Dark Ages. Cordoba was once a global center of learning, blending African, Arab, and European cultures. However, in 1492, their final stronghold fell and their legacy was nearly erased from history. A lot of history has been covered up, but video by video will uncover the raw truth. Follow to be a part of the journey.
If I'm not mistaken, Moors, as in Moroccans, a North African people, not a black Saharan African group. What do you think? Ooh. Ooh. 650 years are gone.
The easiest way to win is to make them think they've already won. Sun Tzu said, all warfare is based on deception. Act harmless. Let them lower their guard. Give them fake confidence. Praise their weakness. Then twist it. Use their pride to blind them. Control what they see, while you prepare what they'll never expect. Deception isn't lying. It's making them lie to themselves.
Luxury isn't loud anymore. Search is breaking, and Gen Z just made soap opera sexy again. Here are the 3 shifts you need to know this week. Number 1, Nike Studios and the new luxury. Nike just launched boutique gyms and they're calling it Nike Studios. This isn't about fitness, it's about access. Gen Z's wealthy are spending less on things and more on rituals that feel premium. Nike's move, design wellness as an aesthetic experience. Curation, community, and a quiet flex. The takeaway here is whether you're building a brand or a personal platform, make it feel like a space people want to be seen in. Experiences are the new identity signal. Number 2, search is fading and discovery is being rebuilt. Search traffic is down, AI gives you answers before you even click, and people, they're done digging. Now it's TikTok, newsletters, YouTube, and group chats. Search used to be about finding answers, but now discovery is about alignment with what people already follow and trust. The takeaway here is your audience doesn't need to search for you. They need to recognize you and they need to trust you. Show up consistently. That's how you become the answer before anyone's even asked the question. And number 3, Gen Z's $250 million soap opera obsession. Drama Box, and Reel Shorts. These are apps filled with bite-sized, cliffhanger-heavy dramas. Just pulled in $250 million in app revenue. Low budget, high emotion. It's not prestige TV, it's emotional engineering. The takeaway here is if you're building content or community, don't just educate or entertain. Make people feel something fast. Because emotion is the new retention. From Nike's quiet luxury to TikTok replacing Google to soap operas on your phone, culture is shifting from utility to emotional value. If you're building a brand in 2025 and you want it to last in the future, don't just ask, what do we sell? Ask, what do we want people to feel? That's all for now. Follow to stay ahead of what's shaping the future of business, brand.
That's really great insight. Wow.
MS-13 is one of the major gangs.
And they are satanic also.
That was my question. So very
I'm
little.
sorry.
No. But I would hope you will explain it because very little has been written in the West about this.
They're satanic, yes.
But actually, literally, can you explain?
Well, they didn't start as a satanic organization. They MS-13 started in Los Angeles, in the U.S., because Salvadorans weren't allowed to sell drugs by the Mexican gangs. So they created a gang that was called the 18th Street Gang, because they basically wanted to sell drugs in a street that was 18th Street over there. But then division started they started dividing themselves and started infighting. So they created the MS-13. And then MS-13 started outgrowing the other gangs, and they started exporting the organization to other parts of the U.S. And when Bill Clinton decided to deport those guys, he didn't tell our government at the time, I'm deporting this criminal. They just send them here. And they came, there were few, but unchecked. At the same time, some laws were passed to protect minors from imprisonment. And of course, the gangs used that to recruit 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds. So at the beginning it was, some youth causing harm, assaulting, trying to control their territory, selling drugs, things that are bad, but probably not critical. But they grew, and they started controlling territories. A few years later, they were actually a huge international criminal organization that they have bases in Italy, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, the U.S. Basically, a lot of major cities in the U.S. will have strongholds of.
Right outside Washington, D.C.
Yes, of course. And you have in Long Island and
yes.
In L.A. It's a huge criminal international organization. So they grew and they started, killing more people just to get territory or to fight against rival gangs or to, collect debts or, money or whatever. But as the organization grew, they became satanic. They started doing satanic rituals. I don't know exactly when that started, but it was well documented.
Yes.
And in our arrest, we've even found altars and things like that.
Yes, I've seen them.
And so they became a satanic organization. And even when you, sometimes when you interview gang members that are in prison, they would say, I'm out of the gang. Of course, they're in prison, but they would say, I'm not a member of the gang anymore. And when they asked them why, I remember I remember the news outlet that made it this, but it's a very well-known news outlet that made this interview with a gang member in person. We allowed them to go into prisons and do the interviews. And the guy that they asked him, how many people have you killed? And he said, I don't remember. He didn't remember how many, probably 10, 20. He didn't remember. And then they asked him, and what is your position in the gang? He explained how he went up in positions, but I left the gang. I said, why did you left the gang? And he said, well, because I was used to kill people, but I killed for territory. I killed to collect money. I killed for extortion. But I came to to this house and they were about to kill a baby. And he, the killer, that had killed tens of people, said, "Oh, wait, what are we doing? Why are we going to kill that baby?" And they told him, because the beast asked for a baby, so we have to give him a baby. So he said that he couldn't resist that, so he left the gang. He's in prison because, he's a killer, but he left the gang because he couldn't tolerate what he was seeing.
So human sacrifice was a part.
Well, in the United States a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of days ago, I don't remember exactly, I saw the news that they were going to kill a young girl, or they killed a young girl, I don't exactly remember, because it was a satanic ritual. It happened in the U.S.
Wow. All of the pieces are falling into place. Thank you, President Bukele. It makes sense now.